Hey there, my gorgeous friends on the internet. Hope you guys are doing well. In this episode, I want to give you the first chapter of the Ultimate JavaScript Animation course. So I always do this as a tradition whenever I release a new course. You get one chapter for free just to see if you like it and if you're interested in the full version, which is still on the website with the discount code early bird. So use that before it expires. So here us at developedbyed, we want to wish you a
Merry Christmas and
and
a
a
Happy
happy
New
new year.
Year!
So have an awesome time and we'll see each other by the beginning of next year. Take care.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chapter 2. We're going to start building our first project, which is going to be a classic cookie pop-up that you get on every website, and you're like, "Ugh, stop it." Well, at least ours is going to be quite nice and fancy looking. So let me refresh and show you what we're going to build. So there we go. We have this nice pop-up, boom, and we have a nice cookie animation going there. So let me refresh that again for you to see. Now, again, the video that you're currently seeing is running on 30 FPS. So when you're going to build it out, it's going to look much, much nicer and much smoother. So I know this is going to be, unfortunately, all the videos are going to be 30 FPS. So always going to look nicer on your end. Okay, now the course files and everything. So if you want to have access to the finished one, are going to be linked on this video somewhere down here. Just go below the video, should be attached, or next to this video should be a finished files and starter files as well. Now I'm going to show you how I got this cookie set up, and we're going to set actually everything up from scratch. So, but if you already want the cookie included, you're going to have that as well. Okay, let's get going. See you in the next video. Okay, so let's set up our new folder. So let's go over to open folder here. There we go, and I'll just pick I'll go here to documents and just make a new folder, and we're gonna call this Ultimate JavaScript course. And enter here. I'm just gonna make a new one called Cookie Pop-Up and create it and open it. Okay, there we go. Obviously, you can make it anywhere you please, but that's what I'm gonna choose. Okay, so now that we are in here, I'm gonna just make 3 files here that we're gonna use. First one is gonna be index.html. All right, so Shift1 and Tab is gonna generate an empty file for us, and we're gonna name this Cookie Pop-Up. There we go. And now the other 2 that we need is style.css, and click plus again there, app.js for our JavaScript. Okay, so let's link these 2 together. We're gonna say link and hit tab / style.css. And down here, we're gonna add a script tag with a source of app.js. Okay, so everything is linked, everything is wonderful. So let's get that SVG in. So how are we gonna do that? Well, we're gonna go over to, let me open up Chrome here, and I'm just gonna Google cookie SVG. Again, if you don't want to do this, it's already going to be in the starter files, but I really want to show you how we need to set up an SVG to properly work with our animations, because a lot of times you are going to want to customize them and to break them apart into smaller pieces, because you might want to animate the crumbs separately from the cookie. You might have a character as an SVG and you want to animate maybe the bicycle and the scarf and his glasses or whatever all independently. So you need to actually import it either in Illustrator or Figma, break them apart there, and then import it in your code. So I just want to show you that whole process before we go into the second part. Okay, so cookie SVG, again, let me just look through these. I found a pretty good one. So here on SVG repo, and this is the one that I found. So I'm gonna just hit download on this one. That's gonna be downloaded there. And now the one I prefer to use the most is Figma. So if you're not familiar with Figma, don't really worry too much about it. just go and download it. You don't even need to download it, actually. You can just try Figma for free here. You can sign up with Google and you can start using it on the browser, actually. I have it downloaded, so I'm just going to open it here, Figma. So after you register on Figma, you're going to be presented with a screen like this. So let's do the login and everything. Login. Again, it doesn't really make a difference if you're on the browser version or if you have the app downloaded. I'm just signing into my Google account now to get this up and running. Okay, open desktop app. Here we go. You cannot see it, unfortunately, because it's on my second screen, but there we go. Okay, so you should be presented with something like this. Okay, so anyway, yours is probably going to be empty. What you really need to do is just go up here to the home symbol and click plus, okay? And you want to choose design file. There we go. All right, and then you're going to be presented with a screen like this. You can hit the frame tool here and just drag outside like that. Now you have a bunch of presets there, but I guess we could do that. So you can just click on this and then you can go to desktop and look at this. You have all of these different kinds of resolutions. I don't know why they don't have the typical 1920 by 1080. So I'm just gonna drag out like this. And here where it says width and height, I'm just gonna type in 1920 by 1080. Okay, this is the most popular resolution that you're gonna see out there. So this is gonna give me a good sense of the scale of how big the cookie is gonna be. So it's quite nice to actually import it here, get a feel for it, maybe do a little design of it, and then export it. So what I'm gonna do is, just get the cookie that I downloaded and drag it in here. All right, there we go. So now that I have the cookie in here, whoops, let me close this up. So I want to close it up here actually in the frame tool so I can just select the whole thing. I don't know why it actually doesn't let me do it. So I'll just drag my cursor over it and move it here, just like that. Okay, so now you have quite a bit of options here. You can customize it to your own liking. You can change the color of this if you want to, make it a bit darker. So this basically selects all the colors from the SVG and allows you to change them. So there we go. Again, I'm gonna just leave the default here. All I really want to do here, okay, now it works. That was a bit strange, is I just want to separate the crumbs from the actual cookie. So what I'm gonna do first of all is click on it and then scale it down. Now, as you can see, it doesn't scale it nicely. So what I wanna do is hold Shift and scale it down. Now, if you wanted to keep it centered, you can hold Shift and not Command, that's not the one. Shift and Option, or Shift and Alt if you're on Windows. You'll scale it down like that. Okay, I'm just gonna zoom in here. And what I'm gonna do is, if you click once, that's gonna select the whole cookie. But if you double click, that's gonna select whatever is inside of the cookie. Okay, so what I wanna do is just double click here until I select this first crumb here, and I'm just gonna go over here and rename it to something else. Okay, so I'm just gonna go here and on the left side here, just call it crumb. Actually, we don't even need to do all of them independently. We can just grab this whole, let me see how they actually grouped it here, because it can be quite wild. So the one I selected, okay, so that's not it. You just kind of have to click around and figure out how the actual illustrators put this together. So let's see. So that's one part of it. That seems to be, so these two, if I hold Shift and just grab these first two groups and move them up. Okay, so that grabs all three of them. So what I can do is just, again, click on these first two groups and then just make a new group. So I can right click on it and do a group selection and call these crumbs like that. And that's it. So now I know at least that this is independent from all of these. So I can just grab from here all the way down and just right click and group again and call this cookie. All right, so now we're nice and organized. We have our crumbs and we have our cookie, and those are the two pieces that we want to animate independently. Okay, very cool. So I'll just leave that like that. And now one important thing is you can go down here and actually you can just right click on this, copy paste as, and you can copy as SVG. Click that. And now you can just go directly back into your code and paste it in there, and you are pretty much done. I know this is large, this looks scary, but VS Code has this ability of you just going here and just closing it up like that. Okay? So don't really worry too much about it. Okay, so let's start. So I have that copied over. I'm not going to paste it in yet. I want to create a div first called cookie container, and hit tab. Okay, let's open this up, and here is where our actual cookie goes. So I'm going to paste it in here and save. All right, now what I want to do is just add the classes to it. So we're going to need to explore in this whole path section where our crumb is and where our cookie is. Now, another cool thing that Figma does is if you hit export here and just scroll down, you can export as SVG. And what you can do here, if you open up, where was it? The three dots here. If you click that, you can do include ID attribute, which exports layers names using ID attributes. So if I click on that and then export it, so okay, that make sure you have that selected and do export, and I'll just save it. I just save it in the same folder. So over at documents, cookie pop-up, and just save it in there. Okay, so if we look at the cookie pop-up SVG now, look at that. We have cookie. And if we scroll down, we have crumbs. All right, so that's all nice and grouped together. Okay, so now we can just copy this over, and we don't really have to worry about finding the correct path here or shape and just removing it and seeing if it works or not. So now let's just update this. I'm gonna grab this whole SVG, cut it out, paste in this new one, hit save, and let's open it up in live server and see if it works. So open in live server. So there's our cookie. I'm just gonna quickly open this up in Chrome because I don't like Safari too much. So let me just pull up Chrome here for you guys. There we go, paste, and there it is. Okay, and now we can actually do a little test run to see if the things that we selected are actually correct. I need to stop with this damn, the Mac keeps pulling up this dock and I don't like it at all. Okay, there we go. Let's full screen this. I'm just gonna zoom in here a bit so you can see it. Oh my God, okay. So what I'm gonna do is just go over to the code, close up this message. So let's go up here and remove the crumbs. So click on here where it says G, and that's gonna highlight the end of the group. So I'm just gonna go over here and select this, remove it, save, and just see if it got rid of it, and it did, so it works. Perfect. So I just paste it back and hit save. So again, this is gonna be included. You technically don't need this anymore because we have the code. Now you might be like, why don't we just import, like do an image and do a source of /cookie SVG repo. You could do that. The issue with this is that we cannot animate the pieces individually because we're going to do some selections on the cookie. Okay, so that's it. That's how you can prepare your SVGs ready to be animated, and you can apply this to pretty much anything out there on the internet. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Let's take a little break here, and just trying to get on my second screen to stop the recording and just trying to disguise it. Okay, that's gonna be it for me. See you in the next episode. Let's have some fun. Okay, let's set up our HTML and CSS. So let's go over here. I do want to make a bit of changes to this. What I'm going to do is, let's see here. I'm just going to copy over. I'm just going to get rid of the cookie here, the ID on this one. Get rid of it and just add a class of cookie on the SVG itself. Okay, so class cookie. And that's it. Everything else should be fine. So let's just close up this whole big group. Where is it? SVG, just to clean up our code. There we go. We don't need to see that. Hit save. Okay, so we have our SVG. We have our cookie container all up and ready. All right, I'll add a little comment here for you to see. Well, that opened it up for some reason. Keep it closed. There we go. So I'm just, how weird is that adds, I just wanted to add a little comment here. This is our cookie, just to keep everything nice and organized. Keep it closed, jeez. Okay, so that's our cookie. And now we're gonna add our text. So in here, we're gonna say dot text and hit tab. That's gonna generate us a div with a class of text. And in here, we're going to have our cookie. Let's do a h2 here. h2 dot cookie title. Like this. Hit tab. That's going to generate, again, a h2 with a class of cookie title. I'm going to call this cookie policy. Perfect. Now we're going to go down here, make a p tag with a cookie subtitle. And hit tab again. All right, so we're going to say we use analytical cookies. Yum. You can add whatever text you want here to make your experience on this website better. Not bitter, better. Save. Perfect. Autocomplete is not working for me for some reason. X. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what's wrong with my prettier. Okay, so that's good. Let's also add a button in here saying, okay, got it. And hit save. And that should pretty much be it. We don't have too much going on. Quite simple. Let's open this up in Live Server, which I think I already did, but let me copy this over to Chrome again. So let's see, where is it? Chrome. Perfect. Is this zoomed in? Let me reset the zooming. Okay, that should be it. Perfect. And let's style this up a little bit. So let's head back here, go to style.css. Gonna go over. I'm gonna do the basic removal of things. I'm just removing all the margins and everything. Remove all the padding and do a little box sizing border box and hit save. There we go. So now everything is nice and stuck together there. I'm just going to grab the body, add a height of 100 VH. There we go. Let's go down here. We might not even need this actually, but I'll keep it. Cookie container. Let's grab the container. Let's get rid of it. If we need it, we'll add it. I'll add a nice little background to this. So background, we'll do a nice linear gradient. I found some wonderful colors. So we'll do 260 degrees. So you can actually choose the angle of the gradient because by default it goes from left to right. So I want it from the bottom corner up to the right corner. So you can add a degree. It's pretty cool. Let's see where my hashtag is. I'm still not used to this Mac. This must be embarrassing. Give me a second. Don't laugh. I know you're laughing. Don't laugh. Control. It's one of these damn buttons. Oh my God. Don't hate me. Please don't hate me. I know it's... Oh, here it is. That's tree. So control. We're learning the Mac commands now. This is no way. Okay, there we go. Option 3. Took 10 minutes, but we did it. Okay. 9B, 6C, 50. A nice brownish color. that correct? It looks like it's erroring out. 9B, 6C, 50. There we go. So that's one. So you can also define the position. So I want it from 0%. And then I'll add a comma. And the other color is going to be, let's see. So there we go. Hashtag master now. 4F2626. I want this to go all the way to 100%. All right, and that's it. So let's take a look. There we go. So as you can see, it goes from this side all the way there. Perfect. Let's go down here. And what I want to do is actually center it in the middle. So one way we can do that very, very easily is add a position absolute to this and just kind of move it around. Position absolute. And now if I do top 50%, that's going to push it down 50% from the top of the screen. As you can see, just like that. And I can do left 50%. And that's going to push it left 50. Now it's not centered. We want it centered. But the thing is, it puts it left 50% here. So if I do left 0%, that's going to put it right there. 50 is going to put it right in the middle. So here's the middle, but the content keeps stretching on and on and on. So what we want to do is take the size of this cookie pop-up and move that back by 50%. All right, so half of this, and then it's going to be perfectly centered. So the way you can do that is do a transform, translate, and do minus 50%, minus 50%. So both for the X and for the Y, and hit save. So there we go. Now it's perfectly centered. Cool. So I want the color to be white in here. So hit save. So there we go. Let's see what else we want to do. I want to put the cookie on this side and the text on the other side. So to do that, we can do a display flex, which is going to put all the content in this parent container side by side. So there we go. And now, let's see what else we should do. I'm going to add a fixed width and height to this. So width, I'll add 20 rem, and height, I'll add 10 rem, and hit save. There we go. Just make it a nice little box here. I want to round out the corners as well. So let's do a border radius of, I don't know, like 1.2 rem, just like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's nice. That's looking quite okay. Now what I want to do is add some paddings, make this look a little bit prettier. So I'm going to add a padding of 1 rem, hit save. There we go. Just add it everywhere, left and right. I also want to add a new font here because this looks quite ugly. So we'll go for Poppins is really nice. So Google Fonts, go in here, just search up Poppins, or it's probably one of the first ones here. We'll search it. We're lazy. Poppins. Here we go. Click on this. We'll select a light one. And we'll select a regular one. There we go. So what we need to do is just copy this over this link here. Copy. Bring it back into our index.html. Paste it here right below the title. Hit save. Go back here and we'll just add it in this cookie container. So font family, we'll do Poppins, comma, sans serif. So this is kind of like a backup in case this doesn't load up, just default to sans serif. Let's hit save and take a look. Ooh, much nicer now. So what I want to do is actually add a light one to this and a bold to this. So we can do let's change the font size to 1.2 rem, make it much, actually not here. We want to go over and grab the cookie title. Let's just do cookie title. And we'll do a font size, 1.2 rem, hit save. So much smaller. That looks good. And then we'll do a font weight of lighter. Let's close that up. There we go, like that. And then the other one's gonna have regular. So cookie, subtitle. We'll do a font weight of regular. And hit save. There we go. I think it defaults to that actually. So if we remove this, is it? Hard to tell. Font, weight, regular. Let me see all the other options here actually. Yep, there we go. Bolder, light, I think regular is 400. It's probably hard to tell on this. I'm not even sure if it allows you to do bolder if you're not importing it. Looks like it is. Let's just do bold then and hit save. Yeah, looks good to me. Perfect, that's fine. Okay, cool. So we have that going. Let's just make the font size here quite small. Font size, we'll do 0.8 rem and hit save. Just like that. Actually, it's just these pop-ups have it really small. I know you shouldn't go really small, but pop-ups, I'm like, it's good enough. Okay, let's do 0.7. There we go. Okay, cool. And now let's make this button nice looking as well. Cookie, subtitle, we have that. And what else do we need? The button. I don't think we added anything. We'll just do button for this. So let's get rid of the border style. Let's say none. All right, just get rid of that. Add a little padding to it. 0.5 rem and 1 rem. So 0.5 is going to be the top and bottom. And left and right is going to be this 1 rem. So there we go. So just 0.5 there, 0.5 there, 1, 1. Cool. Now let's add a color. Let's do the hashtag. I'm going to do this one, the one we use, the 9B, or maybe this darker one. We'll see how it goes. There we go, just to kind of match the background. I'll copy over the font family over to the button as it does not apply. There we go, that looks pretty. And I'll just do a smaller font size. Font size, we'll do 0.7 rem again. And we'll do the bold on this as well. Okay, just to make things look a little pretty. And hit save. There we go, that looks quite nice. We'll also add a little border radius to it. Border radius, 0.4 rem or so. Should be quite nice, maybe a bit less. 0.3 rem. Yeah, that looks quite nice. Just to kind of match the radius of this. You don't want it wacky, like 1 rem, like that. That looks weird. So just keep a little bit of consistency when you're doing the radiuses. Make sure it kind of looks the same overall. Okay, so we got that going. And I think that should be pretty much it. Now we just need to fix up the spacing here, and that should be all good then. So let's head back up to the cookie container here. So we added display flex. There we go. So that allows us to do align items, center, hit save, and that drops everything in the center vertically. Cool. And then we can just do a justify content space between and hit save. Let's see how that looks. Well, it doesn't look that good because we don't really have that much space going on here. So we actually don't even need it. So let's just get rid of it. What we can do is just go over to the cookie and just push it a bit away to the right. So let's just select the cookie. I think we did an ID on this, actually a class, cookie. Just add the padding right of 1 rem and see how that looks. There we go. We can do maybe a little bit more, 2 rem. There we go, that's quite nice. And now the cookie got a bit smaller unfortunately, because it doesn't really have any space going on here for it. So let's see what we can do about that. Guess you can always scale it up a little bit if you wanted to. It just really depends how you export it, really. You can do a transform scale. If I do 2 here, it's going to make it bigger. Now it's going to go outside, actually, so that's not really a good solution. Let's get rid of this. Let's see how we can make this nicer. Cookie title. Okay, let's look at our HTML really quickly. Go here. So we have this text that's in its own category. Okay. We can make it a little bit wider. That's gonna work as well. So let's go here. We can do 30 rem or maybe 25 and hit save just to stretch it out a little bit. And now let's head back over to our code. Let's experiment. So if we push this away even more, it's going to get really small. So actually we don't want that at all. Hit save. So what we want to do actually would be a good idea is to shorten the text container, make that smaller, because this is going to stretch. This is going to take up as much space as it can. So let's just do text then like this. And we'll just change the width of it a bit smaller, like 50. There we go. So that kind of puts it together like that. And now we can actually do justify content here. Let's do justify content, space between. Let's see how that looks. Hit save. Okay. Too spacious in my opinion. Let's experiment. What if we change this up a little bit? Okay. Let's do 60. So we added 50 like this. Let's do 60. That doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good in my opinion. Okay. I'm happy with that. So we'll keep it like that. And I guess in this case, if I want to make it smaller, you can do a little scaling on the cookie. So let's grab the cookie. Go down here, transform, scale. We'll do 0.6. 0. Yeah, I like the size of that actually. Let's just mess around here with these. 70. Yeah, that looks quite nice. So 70 and 0.6. I'm happy with that. I just want to do a little spacing in between the title and the button, and that should be fine. So I'll go over to the subtitle here. Just do a little padding. 1 rem, 0 rem. So basically I just want to add it to the top and bottom, but not to the left and to the right. And hit save. There we go. That looks quite good. I like it. Too much space. We'll do less. 0.5. Yeah, quite happy with that one. So there we go. Let's see if we can get away with making this actually shorter. Maybe a width of 20 rem. Yeah, that looks quite cute actually. I'm happy. Good. There we go. So there's our little pop-up. Again, this course is not too much about design and styling. It's more about animations, but I think that's quite good looking. Okay, this went on for quite a bit now. So let's just stop and head into the JavaScript. Let's go. This is going to be a really fun and interesting episode because I'm going to introduce you to one of the best, if not the best, JavaScript libraries out there for animations called GSAP. Now, why would we use a library and not just add classes and stuff like that? Well, for once, GSAP has amazing browser support. So you can do any type of animation here because there's some quirks using different properties in when you want to animate different properties. They might behave differently depending which browser you are on. So GreenSock actually gives you a nice consistency across all of them. Now, another big thing is creating sequences and more complex animations, it's really, really easy to do it with GSAP. Anything that you can think of regarding SVG animations, it allows you to do scroll-based animations, so it's going to calculate the percentage of how much you scroll and animate the opacity based on that. Just tons and tons of features, amazing easing functionality. Just go and check out their website. I think you'll absolutely love it, and it's so easy to use as well that it's just worth it. So what we need to do is actually import it in our project. So the way we do that is just go over to Google and search up GSAP CDN. All right, and it's going to give you this link here in CDN.js. So click on that. And it's going to open up this page, and you can just go here and click on copy script tag. Once you copy it, you can head back over to the codes. Where's the codes? Here it is. Go over here and just right above our app.js, hit paste and save. Okay, now let me show you the simplicity of this library. Let's close everything up, open up our app.js, and let's get going. Okay, so let's say I want to animate, just as a small little example here, let's say I want to animate let's head back here to the cookie. I want to move this down and animate it down. How am I going to do that? Well, here we go. All you need to do, say GSAP. So GSAP like that, dot to. So I want to animate to a certain place. So this takes in two parameters. The first one is going to be the element that you want to animate. So make sure you add some quotation marks here. And I want to grab the title. So let's see how we name that. We named it, let's do the whole text. So dot text, and that's how you select it, comma. And now we're going to add some curly brackets. And in here, we define which property we want to animate. So let's say I want to move it down. So I'm going to select the Y. I'm going to add a colon. I'm going to say move it down by 20 pixels. Now let's do 50 pixels. And in here, I can also define a duration. So I'm going to say do it for 1 second. And that's it. I'm going to hit save. Let's head back, hit refresh, and take a look at that. It's animating downwards. And we can move it down a bit more. We can do 200, hit save, and look at that. Meow, goes down. Now, one issue with this is that we're having is that it goes, we can still see it here. So what I want to do is actually hide all the content if it overflows. So I can head back here to style.css, go over to this cookie container, and just add an overflow hidden. And that's it. Hit save. And there we go. Let's refresh. Boom. How easy is that? Now we can define multiple properties here if we want. I can do, let's do 100. I can add another comma and just say opacity 0. And that's it. So look at that. We have a nice fade out. So it's very easy, very intuitive. We can also do a from to. So maybe I want it to go from 100, but make it back up to its original position. So I want it to end up here in this position, but I want it to start from down here. So super easy, GSAP dot from to like this. Make sure that's uppercase, otherwise it's not gonna work. So again, we'll just select the text, comma. The only difference is now we're gonna have two curly brackets here. So it takes in 3 properties, this whole from to. So I can define the place. It should start from opacity 0, right? And it should get up to opacity 1. Like that. And now we define the duration here in the second curly bracket. So duration, 1 second, and hit save. And that's it. Easy as that. Hit refresh. Boom, we have a nice fade in. Now I can also add, I want it to move from X, let's do Y, 100 to back to its original position. So to Y, 0. And there we go. Hit save. And now we should get this nice pop-up. Okay, maybe it's too much here. I'll do 20. and hit save. But you get the general idea. So that's it. That's the basics of GSAP. We're going to go more into creating complex animations in the next section. But again, super fun. It's hard to go back to it's hard to go back to adding classes or keyframes or any of that other crap. Okay, see you in the next episode. Let's get rid of this, and I want to introduce you to timelines. So we're going to actually build this whole thing out with timelines. So I'm going to go and just get rid of everything here and hit save. So what a timeline allows you to do is to chain together multiple GSAP from twos or twos. So I think the best way I can show you is to just write out the code, and it's going to all make sense. So I'm going to say const. We're going to create a variable. I'm going to call it TL for timeline. I'm going to do GSAP here dot timeline like this. So that's how we define it. And in here, we can define how all of our animations are going to behave. So how much are they going to last? So duration, we can also do delays here. We can also do easings and a bunch of other amazing stuff. So all you need to do here is create an object like that. So curly brackets, write defaults, colon, and then another curly bracket. I know it looks a bit ugly, but it is what it is. So here we can define a duration. I'm going to say 0.75 seconds. Okay, and that's it. So we have this timeline thing now. And what we can do is just say TL. So rather than doing GSAP from 2 or GSAP 2, we can do TL2. So TL2. So again, same thing. We can select whatever we want to select. In this case, the cookie container, like that. I'm going to add a comma to it. What I want to do is just scale it up. Now, what I want to do first is actually scale it down. So I'm going to do from 2. From 2. Okay, so I want it from a small scale, like 0, and scale it up to 1. And hit save. So let's take a look. Let's go over to the browser and hit refresh. Bam. There we go. So it goes from scale 0 to scale 1. That's wonderful. Okay, let's head back to VS Code. Okay, so here's the cool thing now. I can just do another TL from 2. I can grab the cookie, comma. And what I want to do is let's just fade it in. Opacity, so from opacity 0 to opacity 1. And hit save. Let's go back. So now take a look. It chains them together. So timeline is going to run this animation. And once this one finishes, so again, both of them last for 0.75 seconds. Once this finishes, it starts running the next one. So it chains them together to create more complex animations. So it's really nice and really clean rather than having to delay everything one by one. So there we go. That's what we have. Now what I want to do with this cookie is actually slide it in from the left side. So what I can do is here, so we're doing opacity 0, but I also want to do from x minus 50 to x0. All right, so move it a bit to the left and slide it in back to its original position. So refresh, bam. Perfect. So that's looking really good. What else I can do is just rotate it a bit. So it actually spins in. So what I want to do here is do rotation. And you have to add some not curly brackets, some quote marks here and say, I'm going to do minus 45 degrees. And I want it to go to 0 degrees. So rotation, 0 degrees, like that, and hit save. Okay, cool. So let's hit refresh and see, bam, and it slides in just like that. How cool, how easy and intuitive is this? Hope you like it as much as I do, because I really do. Okay, so we have that. Now let's do another one here. TL from 2. I'll just grab the text like that. I'll do x30 here and opacity 0. So this is, again, our initial position. And the second curly bracket is going to go to x0 and opacity 1. All right, so we're fading it in and we're moving it in from the right side to 0. So x30 is going to push it to the right and move it back to 0. So there we go. Cool. Now there's one thing I don't really like about this is I actually want these two, so the text with the cookie, to come in at the same time. So how can we do that? Very easy. Go to the property, go to the animation that you want to sync up to the previous one. In this case, I want these two to play at the same time. And just right here after the curly brackets, so make sure you're in between the parenthesis and the curly bracket, add a comma and some quotation marks. And if you add the smaller than symbol, it's going to basically sync up with the previous animation. And hit save. Let's see. Look at that. How cool is that? Awesome. There we go. Now, another thing I want to do is add a little easing to this and make it look a bit more interesting. So I can actually define an easing. You can go over, if you search up GSAP ease on Google, you can view this easing visualizer here and check out all the different ones that they have. I'm going to go for the first one here. So you can click on that and then you can just copy paste this over from down here. So copy it, bring it here. So here where I have the duration defined, I can add a comma and paste this power 1 out. And that's just going to add it to everything. So look at that, nice and smooth. How cool does that look? Now what I actually want to do, let me see if I can just stretch this out a bit. I'm still unhappy about the way this text looks. Let me try 80 here. I'm so finicky about design stuff. I know I can be quite annoying. Let me make this smaller, this font size title. And maybe this text as well, a little bit smaller. See, I wasn't happy with 0.7. Hit save. There we go. And let's do 0.6 here as well on the button and hit save. Okay, there we go. Oh, I like that much more. And I guess I'll add a bit bigger border radius to the subtitle here. I'll just add a bit more padding. 0.7. Hit save. Okay, I like the way that looks a bit more. There we go. So that's cool. So anyway, sorry about that. What I can also do, so now this power 1 applies to all of these individual elements. What I want to do is actually on the cookie container is to do like this little elastic, like boom boom effect. That doesn't explain it, me saying boom boom. But if we go here to the visualizer, we can go over to bounce and take a look. Boom, boom, not bounce, but elastic. So I want it to actually go overboard. So basically, as you can see, it goes over like that, which means that when we scale it up to 1, it's actually going to scale it a bit more than it's supposed to. And then it's going to return to scale 1 at the end. There we go. And now you can customize this a bit more down here. So if I change this to 2, that's going to add much more to the intensity. I'm going to keep it 1 here and run that. And then here, the second property, let's change it to 0. So if I do 1 here, that just makes it like barely even 1 bounce. So this makes it super elastic. 0.1, bam, 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 bam. That's super elastic. I'll do 0.4. All right, so 1 and 0.4. Just mess around, customize it. Again, with animations, there's no really right or wrong way of doing it. You just have to kind of mess around with it and see until it looks nice. So all I need to do is head over to that cookie container, and here in the second curly bracket, I can paste in the ease and hit save. And there it is. So bam. Now that's a bit fast in my opinion. So if I want to change the duration, I can just, again, you can just do everything in the second curly bracket. So even though we did the default of ease power 1 and the duration of 0.75, I can modify that on each individual element here. So we have scale, we change the easing, and now we can also change the duration here. So I'll just make this a little bit longer, like 1.5. I'll double this time and hit save. Let's see, refresh, boom. There we go, that looks pretty cool. Now what I want to do, this takes a bit more time to finish now, as you can see. So I feel like the text and cookie pop up quite slow just because we have a large duration here. So what I can do is, again, add that comma and add the symbol. Now if I do that, so you make sure it's between the curly bracket and the parentheses. So comma, and just like that, hit save. Oh, sorry, not there. Let me get rid of that. I meant to do it down here. So comma, because we want this to start as soon as this goes on. Now, the problem with this is that it happens all at the same time, so you cannot really see them sliding in nicely. So what do we do now? What if I wanted to go halfway in? So halfway through this bounce, so when this animation is at 0.75, that's when I want to run this. Well, we can do that actually really easily. All we need to do is say the less than symbol, 50%, and that's it. So when this animation is halfway through the cookie container scaling up, start running all of these down here. So let's see now, refresh, and that's much smoother and nicer. Awesome, so there you go. And that's pretty much it for the cookie animation. I guess we'll add a little thing where you can click on it and it closes up. So let's just do that very quickly. It's going to be quite easy. What we can do is just grab the button. We can do const button equal to document.query selector. We can just grab the button like that. And then we can do a button, add event listener. So when we click on this button, we're going to run a little function here. So what we're going to do here is just do a GSAP dot from to. And what I want to do is grab the cookie container like that. And I wanted to do, actually we can just do a to here. We don't need to define a from position. I wanted to fade out basically. So opacity 0 and Y 200. So move it down a little bit. If you add a positive value here, it's going to move down. If you add a minus here, it's going to go up. Okay. And let's add a little duration here. So let's say 0.75 just to keep everything consistent. And we're going to do that ease of power 1 out again. And hit save. So let's see, refresh, lovely, click, and we have a nice fade out. So there we go. That's the cookie animation. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I made you like GSAP, and hope you see the power of the timeline now. All right, let's create more fun stuff. I'll see you in the next chapter. Hey, Ed, but your crumbs were animating. Crumbs, why is ours not? That's because I forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie. So let's put in the crumb animation. Let's go here. I just looked at it. I'm like, whilst I was recording this video, like something is a bit off. Something's not happening. I feel like something should happen. Yep, forgot to animate the crumbs. So after we run this whole thing, I want the cookie to do a little jump and the crumbs to animate. So let's get that going. Let's go back here. It's going to be really simple, actually. I'm going to add a little comment here. So let's just kind of organize everything. So this section here is fading the cookie out. And this section here is going to be our timeline. Okay, let's do cookie jump here. Okay, Perfect. So I'm going to do TL again from 2. We're going to grab the cookie just like that. Add a comma. And what I want to do is basically move it up and down. So I want it to start from y0 and go to y minus 20. Again, minus 20 is going to make it go up. And hit save. So let's see. Where's my Chrome? Let me open up Chrome. There we go. Boop. And it does a jump and it stays there forever. So we don't want that. We want it to keep coming back up and down over and over again. So how do we do that? Well, we can add a comma here. We can say yo-yo true. And that's literally going to go like a yo-yo. And then what we also need to define is a repeat. So how many times do we want this to go up and down? So I can say 2, for example. Boom, boom, and that's it. Now, if you want it to go forever, you can do -1, and that's going to loop indefinitely. Bam. There we go. That's really cool. Now, what I also want to do is add a little bit of rotation to this. So I'm just going to hit here, add a comma, say rotation from 0 degrees. And here, I'm just going to say rotation, something like 10 degrees. We'll see how that looks. Hit save. There we go. I actually want it to go the other way. So let's do minus here. Minus, let's do 20. And there we go. There's a little jumpy jump. That's really cool. Now, I also want to do this thing to the crumbs. So let's see how we selected the crumbs. Again, we exported through, we did an export through Figma. So I believe we used an ID here. So let's see where it is. So crumbs. Okay. So let's just select it. We can actually just pretty much copy paste everything over that we have up here. So this last line. So just copy, paste it. I need to like that. We'll keep everything the same. Change this to hashtag crumbs. I'll get rid of the rotation. We not really want to rotate anything here. I guess you can keep it, see if it looks cool. I'll just do a little wave movement here, and that's it. So hit save, and look at that. Now they're out of sync, so I want them to go at the same time. So again, the way we can do that is comma, and add the symbol here. Save, and there we go. Has a little jump. Now, as you can see, it cuts off there actually, like that. So that has to do with the way our SVG is, unfortunately. So we can go here and just modify some things here. I think we can get rid of this whole clip path here and see if that fixes our issue. So get rid of that clip path, hit save. Let's see. It's better, but not good enough. There might be another clip path here somewhere. So unfortunately, that cuts everything off for us. Let me see here. Should be able to find it. These SVGs are a bit of a nightmare. Let me scroll through and see if I can find it. Okay, so here's the problem actually. If you open up inspect element, let me zoom in here for you so you can see. If we select the SVG, so it's actually going outside of that SVG container like that. So that's why it's going away. So all you need to do is really add an overflow visible on the SVG, and then it should be fine. So go back here, find the cookie. Here's the cookie, add an overflow visible, and you should be all good to go. And there it is. That's our finished animation. Let's hit refresh, watch it again. Boom, there we go. All right, now we're officially moving on to the next chapter. I'm happy. See you there.